we can feel very cluttered, or we can feel a bit discombobulated, or not settled, not quite as well as we want to be feeling.
That's how I connect. That's why I love music, is because it makes me feel heard. It makes me feel like everything that I'm feeling can be actually put into words.
Okay, so this is where I immediately start feeling guilty, and I don't know. We are hard-coded to a lot of that music. Our brain loves music, and it holds on tight. Where I was on the grounds, and the Stampede Show Band, the young people playing their huge, baritones and saxophones.
Person that I meet, it could be maybe a friend, a mentor, a teacher. I feel like I collect a part of their music taste as well.
Still get a turntable. It's fun.
I want to, actually.
It's just expensive.
Yeah.
Excited to be launching Well Played this fall.
We want to open up the floor to honest arguments and get a deeper insight into how we can improve our healthcare practices and work on our own biases. You're listening to CJSW 90.9 FM, broadcasting from Calgary, Alberta at the University of Calgary campus radio station, which sits on Treaty 7 land. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. This includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, made up of the Siksika, Piikani, the Kainai First Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations.
The city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. Additionally, the University of Calgary is located near where the Bow River meets the Elbow River, a place the Blackfoot people call Mohinstis, which is now known as the city of Calgary. So we're excited to talk to Jennifer Buchanan, who is a certified music therapist with more than 3 decades of experience, and the founder and president of JB Music Therapy, which is an award-winning company whose team supports individuals and groups across their lifespan, from infancy through elder care, in medical, educational, and workplace wellness settings. In 2025, JB Music Therapy received the Patient Experience Award from the Health Quality Council of Alberta, recognizing its collaboration with interdisciplinary teams across acute care. She is also the author of multiple books, including Wellness Well Played, The Power of a Playlist, and Wellness Incorporated, the Health Entrepreneur's Handbook.
As the former executive director and past president of the Canadian Association of Music Therapists, Jennifer played a central role in shaping national standards and advancing the profession. Today, she serves as the vice chair of the board of directors at the National Music Centre and as an affiliate member of the Matheson Centre for Mental Health Research and Education. Currently, Jennifer is leading the fall 2026 launch of Well Played, a music therapy-informed digital platform designed to help use music more intentionally to support resilience, well-being, and recovery. She has received the 2 most prestigious honors in Canadian music therapy, the Norma Sharp Award for Lifetime Achievement, and the Franny Award, named in honor of her mentor, Fran Herman, a pioneer of music therapy in Canada. So we're so happy to have you. And on that note, is there anything else you'd like to add to your bio?
Oh, I am just so grateful to be spending time with you today, where we're going to have the opportunity to talk about music and just truly how it can make our lives better and how we can use it more intentionally for our health. Thank you.
Totally. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your expertise. We are more than excited to dive right in. So with that, I actually met you at the Arts Care Conference. I don't know if you remember, but this was, I think, last year or the year before. And I was fascinated because I was like, what is music therapy? I didn't know this whole profession existed and how much it impacted patients and people in general. So without further ado, I want to ask you, what is music therapy? What does it really mean to you? And what drew you to this topic?
Oh, I remember when I was younger and I heard about it for the first time. Mm-hmm. I think where I'll start is ultimately how I was introduced to this profession, which was when I was quite young. I was a tween way back, and my granddad had just had his second major stroke, and he was placed in what was then called an extended care hospital. Mm-hmm. And this was at a time when in hospitals we didn't have the sort of quality of life services that we can focus on now. And there was incredible nursing and still, incredible care in that way. But that quality of life and looking after the whole person wasn't there. And it would be my granny who said, Jenny, would you learn your granddad's favorite song? And I just happened to be in a school that was a public school that was teaching everyone how to play guitar. Mm-hmm. And I was learning favorite songs. And so I went home and I learned Granddad's favorite song. Now, I do have to say one thing first. Granddad was the most grumpy person I had ever met in my life. And I didn't know grumpy people had favorite songs. So it was a surprise. But when I showed up the following week and sang the song, it was called White Cliffs of Dover, super old now. I would see him cry for the very first time. And we felt this level of connection we had not had. And all of a sudden, as a tween, throughout now my education, I would be going to the extended care hospital and hanging out with all these incredible elders. And we would connect through music. So that was my introduction into music and healthcare. When I was later in high school, I was very fortunate to hear the professional words music therapy, learn it's an allied health profession. Mm-hmm. And when I was in university, I pursued it as my degree. Mm-hmm. At Capilano University in North Vancouver. Mm-hmm. I then had an opportunity to do this very wonderful internship right here in Calgary, and I've never gone home. And this is where laid roots to start the practice. In regards to what is music therapy, it's a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's about identifying the goals someone may have, be it wanting to feel less isolated, wanting to improve certain mechanical elements of ourselves, be it in speech and language or movements, be it wanting to feel differently in their mood, either feeling more productive and uplifted or calm down. And our job as a music therapist is to show people a pathway through live music making that can help them get there.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really interesting because I always view music as like a form of connection. Yeah, kind of like a form of healing as well, but I never really took it seriously to actually heal someone in that sense, especially when they are going through like acute pain or if they're in like a home care or hospital or whatever. Like I just saw it as a way of entertainment. That's honestly the way I saw it. But after hearing this, it makes me think that, there's just so many untapped ways of healing that we as the Western community or Western healthcare looks at it as like that can't be real. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we sometimes do have to give importance to those types of things, like as you were saying. And so a question we have for you is just beyond the science. What do you think music reveals about the way that humans heal and connect? And how does that connection, does it support the healing?
I loved how you said beyond the science because we certainly do have a lot of evidence now. Mm-hmm. We've been able to really show how music affects our brain and our nervous system. But in regards to, and I'm thinking you're looking at this day-to-day healing, maybe not even under a crisis or a serious trauma, and I hear that. one of the ways that I feel what music does for me and for many of the clients that I work with is it provides them another room that is different than maybe the room you're in. And what I mean by that is we can feel very cluttered, or we can feel a bit discombobulated or not settled, not quite as well as we want to be feeling. And when we go to music and we intentionally reach to it, and it in turn rewards us with a sense of understanding and being able to say many of the things that are so hard for us humans to sometimes put into words. There doesn't seem to be language for a lot of that clutter and discombobulated. And I'm thinking of students right now and all the things that students are going through and the pressures of the world and what's happening. And then all of a sudden you hear that one lyric, or you capture that one melody, or you just feel something in your gut and it's indefinable. So this is no longer the science. This is you personally with music. And you just start feeling that this moment is more understood. And what I'm hoping people feel is a little bit of the I'm okay. And I want that for people. I feel if we can start feeling a bit more I'm okay, it means we can continue to contribute and be there for others because we're feeling a bit more okay. And the world's needing each other right now.
Yeah. The reason why I was smiling when you were actually saying that is because you mentioned the other room. And to me, that other room it's not a physical room. It's, I don't know what it is. It's just you're transported somewhere else. To me, that room feels like I'm almost flying or floating. And that's when I hear certain artists speak, actually, or when they sing in their songs. And it's not their voices, it's the beat. It just transports me somewhere else. I feel like I am flying or whatever it may be. And especially when you said that there's sometimes certain lyrics or certain words that just capture the way that you're feeling and can almost some way, somehow bring tears into your eyes. And that's how I connect. That's why I love music, is because it makes me feel heard. It makes me feel like everything that I'm feeling can be actually put into words. And that's why I was smiling, because I really resonated with that. I really did.
And so now you can imagine you're someone that didn't expect to be in a hospital room, and you're wearing a gown, and you're lying in bed, and you're hearing all those buzzers and all those beeps. It's unfamiliar. You don't have all your things around you. And a music therapist comes into the room with their guitar and maybe a couple of instruments and sits down beside you and just asks you the simple question, tell me a bit about your music and what you love to listen to and why. And it transports you into that other room, exactly because this room doesn't make sense.
I agree. I had a question. You said that some music therapists come into the hospitals. That's actually the first time I've heard of that. Are a lot of hospitals in the Western medicine incorporating music therapy and music therapists in healing? Because honestly, I've never heard of it.
I love that question. So I would say it's not popular yet. I'm going to talk more about Canada right now. It's certainly music therapists are working in hospitals around the world, but it's not in every hospital and it's not on every unit. But what I do have to say here in Calgary, our team of therapists are very grateful to be providing services in all 5 acute care hospitals, not on every unit, but we are on 28 units. And that is because of collaborations with Alberta Health Services, the Calgary Health Foundation, and the National Music Centre's Music Therapy Initiative. And all those people have come together, as well as public champions, to ensure that music therapy is a part of what's provided to patient needs. And so the award you mentioned about Health Quality Alberta's Patient Experience Award came out of the work that happened within the acute care hospital settings. We feel very fortunate to be there. And another aspect of that is we get to work with other healthcare professionals. So we do co-treatments with physiotherapists and occupational therapists, speech therapists, spiritual care, and nursing. Like, we are just so fortunate to be a part of the team that are working in areas like end-of-life care, palliative care, neurorehabilitation, so stroke, brain injury, and also on the burns unit, ICU. It's been really wonderful to be introduced in that setting.
Right. Yeah. And it really sounds like music therapy is something that's holistic, it's well integrated, and it's collaborative, like all healthcare. And it really makes me think to the time when I was working at a senior care home, but with the recreation therapy team, and we would bring in like musicians from time to time, like once a month, and it was very rare, but it was really great to see the seniors like interact, and everyone loved it so much. It was just, like you said before, a language that was able to connect everyone, whether or not they spoke English, whether or not they had a hearing disability, or if they were blind. So it just connected all forms of people together. And that brings me to my question. And what's the difference between recreation therapy and music therapy? Is that just like broad and then music therapy fits into it? Or?
Oh, I love that. They're actually separate professions, but we work together a ton. So music therapists specifically use music as our therapy and in the therapy. Recreation therapists certainly incorporate music in their work as well, but yes, they have such a broad range of skills in regards to ensuring that leisure is presented in a way that is highly therapeutic for the people that they're working with. But both of us, a lot of similarities in the way that we do individuals, and we also do group work, but we collaborate a lot together. I work at a place called Forensics, which is a part of our correction system, as well as Alberta Health Services system. So it's a blend between healthcare and the prison system. And it's in the caring of people who are quite sick that are in that setting. And my partner every week is the most incredible recreation therapist that I get to work with, and part of my joy of working there is because of her.
Oh, that's very, very sweet and very nice to hear, because I know recreation therapy has been around like a bit longer, and then music therapy is something I'm hearing of more recently, like over the last decade. And this might be a silly question, but do all music therapists sing or play an instrument?
Not a silly question at all. Broadly, yes. We certainly, in order to incorporate the different elements of music, selecting the right tempo, being able to adapt that tempo, adapting the different genres of music, using certain from breathing techniques to actually using our voices for singing. All those are incredibly useful as a music therapist as we engage with our clients, our patients, our whoever's in our care in active music making. We do use also recorded music, but it's the live music engagement that where we really see the most significant, I'm going to use the word change, but it's just where goals are being reached very efficiently. So it's been quite an opportunity for us to definitely have those music skills. Yeah.
On that note, though, do you play an instrument, and which one?
Right? Okay, so this is where I immediately start feeling guilty, and I don't know. I'd love to hear your music backgrounds as well. So I grew up, again, in the most incredible public school system ever. And so I had opportunities to learn everything from the ukulele to the bass to saxophone to clarinet to guitar, like I was mentioning. So I had lots of experiences. I also had the privilege of having piano lessons growing up, and so lots of music in my life as well as singing. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting going into the music therapy program as a young adult. And because guitar is so portable that you can take it with you, that's really become the primary instrument that me and most music therapists use, because so many of us did not grow up playing guitar, but it's something that's become that thing that's just easier to take around. Many are also pianists. I miss playing my clarinet, though, I have to say, and it's been something I keep thinking, in my retirement, I'm going to pick it up again, because I really, really miss it. I love to sing. Singing's always been a part. Not all of us are these incredible vocalists, but the one thing we've learned is it's more about how we're using the music in the sessions. We do not have to be the best at everything. We are not just musicians, we are therapists. And what I've learned with clients and patients is they didn't come there for perfection, and sometimes perfection would be intimidating. So it's about creating this therapeutic relationship with them to encourage them to be a part and be in the music with us. And sometimes it's through all the flubs and the foibles where that works the best.
On the note of inclusion and accessibility, I mean, we think about how in different cultures, yes, piano I find is kind of like the foundation, or like piano most often I feel, and then I guess maybe guitar. But I find that in different cultures, music, piano and guitar is not a thing. Or it's like you can't really hear it in the background. So in order to be more inclusive and accessible to, patients of different populations, how do you tailor music in that sense? Especially, let's say, if someone is an elder and they're of another geographic location and culture or whatnot, and this maybe might be the first time they've even seen a guitar. How do you introduce that concept, the instrument itself and therapy itself too?
Gosh, I appreciate that question, because I gotta say we sit in this a lot as music therapists, recognizing that our backgrounds have given us the certain experiences that we've had. But having cultural sensitivity is so incredibly important for us. I'll give you an example. I was invited to work in Nunavut for a week. And not in Iqaluit, but in a place called Igloolik, which is about another 3-hour flight going north from Iqaluit.
Oh, wow.
So way up there near the Baffin Islands. And I was working on this small island, and initially was supposed to be working with the children. But the elders said, can you come and spend time with us first? We want to get to know you. And I had taken up 2 luggage full of instruments, and I was concerned about it. These instruments were from all places in the world. And I recognized these are not. I also had to be thoughtful, because I did have a couple of hand drums that had been made for me. I was being really just mindful of that. And so I just transparently said at the very beginning, I recognize that these instruments may be new, may be different, but also may be familiar. I explained where all of them came from. I explained that I have had from 2-month-old hands rested on it, feeling the vibrations, to having a 104-year-old play it for the very first time with this particular mallet, that thousands of people had shared their best expression into each of the instruments. And what I learned from the elders was this is an opportunity for us to also share in that community, even though we have not met them. But their energy is being passed through on these different instruments. And they showed me their rhythms and the way they played on instruments that they had never necessarily experienced before, including different kinds of drums. And it was so beautiful. My favorite moment was when the most elder female, she asked me if she could take home one of the instruments to show her son. And absolutely. And it happened to be this from the Philippines, and it was some sheep's hooves that were around a bracelet style. And she went and got other hooves that she had collected and made one herself and brought it back the next day and said this would be an exercise she now wants to do with the kids in the community so they can all play together with this new sounding instrument.
That's so sweet.
Aww, that's
I had a question on that. I was just thinking, like, you know, you said that you used an instrument from the Philippines. Is this something that maybe you want to do in your future, is travel around the world and meet new people, learn new instruments, learn the way music
new rhythms?
Is? Yeah.
Learn, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to come?
Yes. Please.
Take us with you.
Let's go.
Yeah, because I think music, it's a language that even if you don't speak, everyone understands. I think it's like very, it's what's that word? Instinctual, is it? Yeah.
Instinctual, universal.
Universal. It's a universal emotion,
Right.
language, feeling, whatever you define it as.
Yeah, and I feel that in the way the music therapist presents music, there's a way of play. You know, we call it improvisation. So going and improvising in a community way, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, and learning from each other, like you talked about that reciprocal nature of you learning from the elders and that community, but also them learning from you. I think that is beautiful.
Right.
And that's like really shows how music like unites people.
Yeah.
On that note, do you work with any specific populations of people, or do you specialize in like children or elderly, or do you work with everyone?
Yes. So when I started my practice, I was number 133 of certified music therapists in Canada.
Wow.
So in those days, you just learned to work with everybody. That's just how it was. There was a lot of need. Youngest from, you know, little babies in children's, like the NICU departments, all the way up to, you know, as I was saying, 104, you know, just all it's for everyone and coming from a lot of different backgrounds.
Right.
And I've continued that with our company. So we have a team of 16 certified music therapists now. And then we also have researchers and developers on the team. And we have just continued being generalists. Now, I sometimes have worried about that because I thought, oh, maybe we should specialize. But the need is great. And we're still very strong with all these different groups. And I do feel, and I tell my staff this, I feel that you have so much to learn from working with children with cerebral palsy, children with autism, just children.
Right.
There's so much to learn there that I can't help but think it improves your skills for when you go and work with,
Totally.
a senior with dementia or someone with brain injury. Like, there's so much crossover. You learn this deeper level of communication and deeper listening skills and really how to support people and just be present. So that's why I feel that it's okay. Maybe I'm just, trying to make it sound that it's okay to be generalist, but I do feel that's really worked well for us and something I plan to continue.
Right, because in a lot of different fields, they kind of prompt you to specialize, but then that makes you less accessible to the general population. And I wanted to backtrack because I was curious a little bit about how do you do music therapy with little babies? Like, because you can't communicate with them.
Right. Especially if in their NICU, because they're just
right.
They're so little.
Yeah.
So there's actual specialized training in NICU music therapy training.
Oh,
So
wow.
very much so about working with heartbeats, about helping parents who are not able to fully hug their babies to connect with their babies. We do a lot of songwriting in music therapy. So can you imagine a mom writing a song for her baby, sharing that song with her baby that she's now going to carry forward and always sing that song to, even when it's her 23-year-old baby, right? And so there's these moments so we can still have connection. That transfers also when we have had someone who has passed on to the next spirit world, into the spirit world, but you still want to feel connected to them and having a song that you sing to them and feel like you're sharing it with them. So this concept of song sharing can be very powerful. And in the NICU, that heartbeat and finding exactly that tempo of the baby, which is actually, I just went slow with my hand, but it's actually so much faster with our little babies.
That's adorable. It must be a really great experience to build connection with people, babies, elderly, and that also, it brings me to another question I was just thinking of when you were talking, but they say when the baby is inside the mother, like the songs you sing or the voices they hear, they recognize when they're born. How true is that?
It's true, and I don't want to count social media for everything, but you actually do see some of those 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds later, like they will hear the song again and immediately respond to it differently than any other song because it's the one that they kept hearing the most while they were in the womb.
Right.
It's quite cool.
Right.
Highly recommend.
So is there like a particular mood that you should be listening to while you're pregnant?
I also heard if you listen to classical music, it's like it helps with the baby's intelligence. Like, how true is that too?
Okay, I don't think that one's quite as true. So, but what I do know for sure is, when we break down the elements of music, so when you break down different tempos, that certainly does something different for each of us. Like if I started, playing a certain tempo right now, it's going to be too slow for somebody, too fast for somebody else. It's going to help one person calm down and it's going to lift somebody else up. So the other thing is tone. We were just talking about the piano. Some people do not respond well to the piano at all. It just brings back all those piano lessons and they don't enjoy it anymore. Classical music can have a real negative effect on some people. If it was forced on somebody, that is not something that is healthy for them any longer. And the other thing I know for sure, desensitizing ourselves from music that has had a traumatic or a negative effect on us is next to impossible. We are hard-coded to a lot of that music. Our brain loves music and it holds on tight. So releasing it is super tough. What's more important is adding in something new so it can start taking up more space, more room than some of that old stuff that has done some harm and hurt. Yeah.
Right, because sometimes music also carries memories, like you're saying, right?
There is no other activity we know of that touches so many areas of the brain simultaneously than when we listen to music we've engaged with, either negatively or positively.
Yeah, because whenever I hear any songs from The Sound of Music, it takes me back to grade 2 when we did that.
Right away.
I had like one question. It made me think, like, just as like a regular person who just constantly is listening to music, I don't drive in silence. I can't. How can I use music to not only, because I do feel sometimes music, especially nowadays, I find with the lyrics that people produce, they don't always have the best meaning, and they can be actually very negative too. And like for example, like rap music, like it sometimes does have very negative connotations, and it's not good to always voice those things out loud, but that's the kind of music I like because of the beats. It's just the beats. And so I've recognized that too, that sometimes I'm repeating these lyrics, but they're saying negative things all the time. It's like, it made me question, like, how can I use music in my life, something that I do love, but in a way that can help me, but is still somewhat familiar to me, because I can't abandon rap music altogether.
But then are those like negative thoughts like relatable, or
sometimes I feel like the more you say it, the more sometimes you see it too.
Right.
It's like your thoughts and the words that you voice become internalized sometimes, but I try to stay away from that. But I feel like it does happen intentionally, and also because a lot of young kids listen to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it makes me question, like, how can I, just for myself, use it to, like, my advantage?
Okay, I'm not going to have the perfect answer for this, okay? When parents come to me very concerned about what their kids are listening to, which actually happens a lot, I always suggest to them that instead of judging the music, ask your child, how do you feel while you're listening to it? And if they're saying, I feel great, I feel uplifted, it is doing something for me positively, that truly is something to pay attention to. Okay? It's not pulling them down. It's not making them feel angry. They're not wanting to go out and hurt somebody. They personally, so listen to their words. So I would say the same to you. As you're listening to the music, how are you feeling as you're listening to it? Because really, that's the association that's happening between that groove and the music. It's going right to your limbic system, which is your feeling centers, and you are connecting hard that I am feeling this. However, because you're singing along and you're going, oh, this doesn't feel too good, that's a brain interrupt now. You're being interrupted in the joy of that groove. So I'm going to recommend finding more music with that groove, with lyrics that do resonate with you. Because what it's sounding like is groove is first. You love a good groove and you want to hear that and keep going. But now that you're singing along to it, because you're a rock star, you want to definitely feel good about what you're also projecting out into the world. So finding some new music, exploring some new music, not just North American music, but all kinds of music, and finding those really cool grooves with some really great words. There's so much music out there, there's no reason you can't find them both.
True. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, like, how much does music shape who we are, and then how much do we look for, I guess, music of maybe like a personality that we aspire to be, and then by like re-listening to music that's maybe a specific genre, like how much do we start becoming that because we're listening to it?
Oh, now you're starting to think like a music therapist, right? Because it's in the question of that. Like, we know the influence music has on us. We've known that for decades because they've been using it at grocery stores and retail outlets and getting us to buy things. And you see it on socials all the time, and they want you not to scroll too fast, so they add a certain kind of music that holds you there. So we know it's this incredible influential tool, and that means that we have to use it with some level of responsibility, especially when we're sharing it with ourselves and with others. So perhaps the message, part of our message today, is to, as we're now moving forward listening to our music and we're being a little more thoughtful about it, we can start thinking about, okay, what music is the most healthy for me? Which one is making me feel the way that I'm really wanting to feel? Which one's representing who I am becoming? And we're allowed to change and transform, and music's wants to be there for you. And again, there's so much out there. We can find the right stuff.
Yeah, that makes me think, like, back in the day, I was very into rap, very, very into rap. And now, recently, I've been into, like, techno and house music.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, house music makes me feel like I'm in, like, Bali on, like, a rooftop, like, just, like, the wind's in my hair, and I'm just enjoying life, and I'm transported into that space. And it just makes me feel so good. And so I have a little fun question for you. Did you go to the Calgary Stampede?
So, isn't that interesting, right? I did. You know, these are all immersive experiences, and music is a part of it. And I have to say, I had that moment where I was on the grounds, and the Stampede show band, the young people playing their huge, you know, baritones and saxophones and trumpets, were there dancing and moving and playing their music. And it felt joyful. I saw the joy in these young people. They were connecting. They were sharing with the public. I'm glad you didn't ask me if I love country music. It's really, again, as a music therapist, you learn to really appreciate all kinds of music, and that's where I want to live.
Right. Now that makes me wonder, what about the people that say, music's not for me, I don't like music, I hate music?
Yeah.
Do you agree
think?
with that?
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you think that is? Do you think that could possibly be true?
No. From my understanding, music's like all around us, whether that's lullabies that our parents sang for us when we were kids, or maybe it's something that we're listening to in a movie or a commercial.
It's even religious.
Yeah, it's religious.
It starts from there. Like, for example, like when I think of music, I think, okay, it's like recent. But no, then I think about my grandparents. No, my grandparents grew up listening to music. So I feel like it's not even the fact that music's not for me. I think it's more so, I don't think music's going to help me heal.
It's interesting. So I have heard that. We have certainly heard, I don't like music. We have certainly heard that. We also know that music is very evocative. And especially if you've had a significant break away from music and then all of a sudden you hear something that you do connect to,
right,
it can be pretty emotional. And that level of emotion can also feel painful.
So maybe, I'm just extrapolating, but maybe because it's associated with a negative memory, or...
Could be.
Okay.
So we take it all as truth. That is that person's truth. That music is not something right now that they're ready for, or that they feel their narrative is, I don't like it, and it's there for a reason.
Right. Yeah. Could it be possibly that they just haven't found the type of music that they like?
Totally.
What about silence?
The best. Music is a blend of sound and silences. Every piece of music. Sometimes life is exactly the same. We have moments where we're in the music, and we have moments when we're in the silence, and both of them are perfection.
Do you prefer music or silence? It's a hard question.
What I know is I need both.
Good answer.
Good answer. Yeah. We have a question for you. This one's a little bit personal. But can you recall a time when a piece of music, whether it be instrument or song, or a song that's written by someone else, or a song that you wrote, or whatever it may be, that changed your outlook on life, or even helped you through something personal?
Something definitely happened to me when I heard Tracy Chapman for the very first time, and her album Crossroads. And I don't know, have you ever heard Tracy Chapman? Do you know who that is? I'm going to recommend people listen to her if you don't know who she is. She played the guitar in a certain way. She wrote lyrics in a certain way. And everything that she said felt like she was speaking directly to me as a late teen, early 20s time. And it was during a time I was certainly feeling that, again, that discombobulated, lost feeling. And it's not that anything was particularly wrong. It's just also nothing made sense. It was just that time in my life. Yeah. And when I listened to that album, the world made sense just between me and the world. And she just connected it. So, yeah, it was, she was very significant for me.
That makes me think maybe she's like the old Taylor Swift.
Right. It's interesting you're saying that, because I often say that if you do love lyrics and you're either someone who loves Taylor Swift or Tracy Chapman, I often say that because both of them are very much into the lyrics they write. Yeah, great.
Right. It reminded me, because I'm like, there's Taylor Swift, there's just so much lore behind her, like so many young girls, and actually they're across like the whole age range, like the whole age range that are just so, I don't know, like they just love her. They're just so influenced by her that it's like crazy to me.
Including me.
Including you? Not including me. I do like her old music, but like it's just like maybe there's something about her and the way that her lyrics are, because she's very big on lyrics. Maybe that's why. Like I just put that kind of connection together and it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, she knows how to relate to people, her audience. She knows, I think she has a good stage presence. There's a lot of factors, but I agree. I like a lot of her older music.
Yeah. Her older music is like when I was like in my elementary school
ages,
and then you're listening to these like love songs and you've never been in love, but it's for some reason you feel like you felt love.
It's that feeling you described earlier about being in Bali with the wind like blowing through your hair. It's kind of like this alternate reality.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, and changing gears a little bit, because I've been so excited to talk about your books, I wanted to ask you, when did you know that you wanted to start writing and not just like performing music? When did you know that you felt ready enough to write a book and share your knowledge through words and not just music?
Wow. Yeah. So my first book I published in 2012. And that book was actually called Tune In. And what was happening to me at the time is I didn't know if I would be a music therapist forever, because I was going through a really hard time sustaining our work and getting enough work all the time for these new therapists. And I thought, well, before I quit, I'm going to write a book about this profession that I think is so incredibly cool. And that's what led me to writing my first book, which I would not say is a very well-written book, but it really came from a place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I finished writing the book, I knew that there's no way I could leave this profession. I had to make it work. What's interesting is my book in 2019, Wellness Incorporated, came from exactly the same place where I went, that's it. I'm not going to own a private practice anymore. I'm going to close up shop, and I'm just going to, do some presentations, maybe get a speaking gig somewhere. And then I wrote this book about owning a small, obscure healthcare company and all the things we needed to do to make it work this far. And so the company was already over 20 years old, and I thought, that's a really great run.
Right.
So I wrote this book about the handbook and all the different principles that we used. And by the time I finished that book and implemented everything in the book again, I went, no, this is what I want to be doing. I can do this. So both the books were reminded me what I did know and that I can do, and that I just needed to strengthen a few things, and I could keep going. It built resilience in me. The most recent book, Wellness Well Played, The Power of a Playlist, I finally wrote because I wanted to write.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super fun. And this was this concept. I'm a Gen Xer. Gen Xers have been through the cassette tapes. We've been through the CDs. I even had 8 tracks as a kid. You can look that up later. I now have gone back to having a vinyl collection. We've done the streaming services. We've had Walkmans. I wanted to write about the power of a playlist and why it's so important to learn how to do the perfect playlist and all the different ways we can do it. And I had so much fun writing that book. And the exercises that I put through that book for us to identify our love of music and reconnect us to how we can use music better is exactly what I'm now translating into the digital platform you mentioned called Well Played. And we are putting these exercises into a mobile app so all people can experience all the different ways they can use music better. They don't have to be in the hospital, but they can be. They don't have to be going through something significantly hard, but they could be. They don't have to be young. They can be older. And it's going to be this platform that we can connect together with our music and share a bit more.
Firstly, that's awesome. I love when people translate their expertise into books, because now you've made it so much more accessible for like people who read. And as I was reading, so I read Wellness Well Played, and I'm halfway through Wellness Incorporated, but I have to say you are a really good storyteller. So I'm sure Tune In was really good too.
Thank you.
And I think knowledge translation, because that's I think is one of the hardest things to do, is to make something tangible, and especially a concept like music sometimes doesn't feel like you can, how much can you even talk about it sometimes, you feel like there's some sort of end. And I like how you're taking different pathways to it. I would never think that there's a science or a method behind making a playlist, because to me, when I make a playlist, my method is, what kind of beats does it have? Is this slow? Does this make me want to cry, or does this make me want to go on the Stairmaster and go all out? That's how I make my playlist. So to have a specific type of method to create playlists, that is so cool. And so if you could give one little rundown or one little statement on how that kind of inspired you to think about that topic specifically, what was it?
Well, I just feel that, like you're saying, all of us already use music in some way. We all have a sense of that. But we haven't actually gone to a class and learned some skills on how to do it maybe slightly differently or with maybe some greater intention. And what I'm hoping is it's taking already what you do and just adding one layer on top of that so you can use it better. And now maybe it's not just going to be for going to the gym or helping you relax, but maybe it's going to be specifically for a moment in your life where you went, okay, I'm needing to feel connected right now. And so I'm going to use it very purposefully for that.
And so, like, let's say if it's like if I want to feel connected to like my purpose, it's like in that playlist I can have upbeat, but I can also have like slower songs. That's something that I don't really think about. I think like upbeat deserves its own section, slow songs deserve their own section. Like there's no mixing of them, and so it makes me think like there is mixing. Like two different songs can like fulfill the same purpose sometimes for you,
right? But I want to encourage you how you're already using it. It's pretty darn good.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Now I'm actually like I want to learn a little bit more about how to create intentionality. And so I think it's really cool. That's really cool.
And I like the exercises you had kind of incorporated through the book. Especially the one where you were like, describe 3 words to describe the music you're currently listening to. And I had to sit there for 10 minutes to really think about, okay, what is that for me and for the music? Because I think I go through phases, so I'll listen to a particular artist or genre for 6 months and then completely change. So my playlist actually it goes from slow to sad to happy and upbeat, and it's all kind of in one playlist. But then after you said, okay, like what do you listen to and what's important to you? Like, what's your goal with this playlist? I was thinking about it, and one thing that's really important for me is artists that have very thoughtful lyrics and the way they play with it, or the way they maybe take those lyrics and it's not very predictable. I like it when the music's unpredictable or the lyrics are unpredictable. So that's something I noticed about my music habits.
And I would ask you after that just something to think about. You don't have to answer because we don't have to do therapy here. But my question for you would be, would you prefer people see you as unpredictable, or do you want them to see you as really predictable?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
I'll leave that with you.
Yes, I'll definitely have to think about it. What I do think is I like to be a mosaic of different things. So maybe sometimes I am predictable, sometimes I am unpredictable. But yeah.
Which sounds kind of unpredictable.
Exactly. Interesting. Okay, now I'll have to go back and sit.
I like the question you posed to Nidhi, because it's like our music choice or what we listen to is almost a manifestation of what maybe we want to be. Something that I'm going to take home with me too, because I don't know myself. Like you said, I'm a mosaic, but I don't know.
Maybe that's what we're trying to figure out in a way.
Yeah, I think, how you were saying you're in your late, like, tween area where you were lost, and I feel like I'm in that area too. So maybe I'm like trying to listen to music that makes me. I actually do listen to music that makes me feel lost, where I don't have to think. So wow, you connected the dots.
Yeah. On that note, I feel like I collect music from people. So every person that I meet, it could be maybe a friend, a mentor, a teacher. I feel like I collect a part of their music taste as well. And then whether or not they're in my life anymore, that doesn't matter. But the music seems to just stay in my playlist.
I love that. So you can add Tracy Chapman after I leave.
I definitely will. We will be blasting it.
So for a question, for listeners who haven't maybe read your books, how would you describe what they're really about beyond music therapy itself? Like we know with Wellness Incorporated, it's about the intentionality and the methods behind creating playlists that maybe give you certain purposes, but I guess maybe in general, if you could answer that question.
Yeah, so Wellness Well Played, I would say what it's trying to do is really it's trying to connect you to your music and the true value it can bring in your life, but also reminding you about how you can share it. So we talked earlier about exploring new music, and that's one way that we can share with others and learn about others' music. But it also, I would say, one of the things that I bring up in that book is to do an audit of all the people in your life and ensure that they do have access to music. One of the things I'm finding is that some of, those, I say in their wisdom years, they may not, streaming is not, easy for people. You can't always find exactly what you're looking for, and the music that you really want to look for or that really meant a lot to you when you were younger may not always be there. Certainly there's some playlists and you can find some general, but not finding the specifics can be can be hard. So I like seeing this connection between different generations to assist one another to make sure that music is accessible to you. I think about the people, we were talking about the senior care homes. People there don't have access to music when they want it.
Right. Only when someone comes in and plays.
Absolutely. And so access is not there. Agency is not there. So just to give an audit to the people in your life. Another thing that I recommend in that book in regards to showing and sharing music is when you are sitting around the community table or the family table, you're having your meal, asking a music-based question like, what music have you been drawn to lately? And hear from the 7-year-old and the 77-year-old and find out what music they've been listening to. No wrong answers ever. Just learning a little bit more. You may also hear in those moments, actually, I haven't been listening to music. One of the things I like doing is then collecting that music and putting together a playlist after the event and sharing with everybody, this is the music we all talked about.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What kind of music have you been listening to lately?
What have I been drawn to lately? I love and hate that question. I mean, besides Stampede music. I have been listening. I've been listening to a lot of acoustic music. So when I go to the streaming services and I want to listen to a particular vibe, whether I'm wanting chill or whatever it is, I always like putting that word acoustic in there so I can hear the stripped down version. I like rap too, though.
Okay.
Did you just happen to watch the FIFA halftime show?
Mm-hmm.
And what I loved about the halftime show was the variety of music that they incorporated in that. I thought Chris Martin really produced that incredibly well. Because it took us through the ebbs and the flows and the ups and the downs and the fast and the slows. I know there was some question about JB's, real acoustic version. That's why I was bringing it up. But I thought his acoustic version of Hallelujah added a layer to the entire 11 minutes that really just brought us down into a focus. And then we were able to go back up as soon as we saw Shakira. Right? And those are those surprisingly familiar moments that music can give us where it can take us down and bring us up in seconds. Love that.
There's also, if you go on YouTube, certain songs are in 5D. So it's, I don't even know, it just sounds so much more full. I don't know how to describe it, but you should see.
I will.
Yeah, you know how you said that you were looking at the acoustic version of it?
Yeah.
See if the song has a I think it's called 5D. It just sounds, it's just I don't know how to describe it.
Does it bring out the bass a bit?
No, it's very more, feels like you're in space almost. It makes me feel like it's very, I don't know, it's very filling the room.
Ethereal.
Kind of. You should.
5D.
Never
I
heard
think
of it.
it's 5D. Yeah, there's certain songs, especially when I used to rap music 5D is really cool to me.
Do you like old rap or you like Tupac?
No, I'm more of like a modern day. Yeah.
Okay. Who's your favorite?
That's a good question. I was actually going to ask you that question. Some of my favorite artists actually are Travis Scott.
Okay.
And Don Toliver. They have the same flow. And when I listen to them, I actually do feel like I'm floating. That's why. And Drake. You can't hate on Drake. You really can't.
No. Well, some do.
Some do, but you can't. Like, you can't. He's just a staple in every single year. Like, you just can't. What about you?
Like I said, it goes up and down. Like right now, I discovered Dominic Fike over the last 6 weeks, so that's kind of what I've been listening to. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Do you find you listen to something new and then you hold on to it for a bit?
I do. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because I like to learn the lyrics. I like to learn their story and why they wrote what they wrote. And yeah. So full immersion. I love that. Yeah, but hopefully in 5D.
Yeah. You know, that's why I actually became a believer when I was young. It's after watching his movie Believe, where I understood like how his up came to be, and I actually have the word believe tattooed on me, and because I saw what it meant for him, and I took that and applied it into my life and what it meant for me, and I've been a believer ever since, and love his music. If you really like his music, you should listen to his acoustic album. It's of him and like a guitar. It's like yellow album cover. It is so good. There's this one song on there, Yellow Raincoat.
I'm so excited.
It's so good.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you should listen to it.
This is what we need. More sharing.
Yes.
I love it.
But yeah, I just wanted to end the podcast kind of off in a more... No.
Wait, I have a few more questions.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes. So I was actually going to ask you, when you talk about like creating purposeful playlist, are we talking about one playlist or multiple playlists? What are you encouraging? Like, I know Harveen said this earlier, but should we be creating a playlist for different moods, or should we be creating something more of, I think, a life playlist? Like you were talking about Gwen in your book, who, for context, if you haven't read it, she was a cancer patient, and then she compiled 12 songs that resonated with her the most deeply, and she created a CD, and she shared that with, I guess, all of her loved ones, and after she passed away. So I thought that
Pretty
brought me to
powerful.
tears.
Yeah, Gwen was definitely showed us all just one way to create a purposeful playlist, but there is not just one way. There are so many different ways. You know, we've all mentioned our own ways here, and some of them are going to be based on a mood. Some of them are going to be based on the tempo that we need for the activity that we're going to do, and keeping up with the music so we can do that 5K in a certain run. There are so many different ways. The meaning around the purposeful part is being more aware and intentional about why you're making it, instead of just making it or not giving it the level of mindfulness that it in some way has earned all this music. So the book does take you through several different ways, from your big mega personal soundtrack from beginning to end of when you were a little kid all the way to today, to, as you were mentioning, Gwen's signature 12, to putting together a music for mood for a very specific time of day, maybe just 4 songs, but how do you get there, to the just 3 words we talked about, and finding that particular playlist of the music you're drawn to lately, and then assessing why you're being drawn to it. So there's so many different ways that you can do it.
Right.
That
Go ahead.
kind of makes me think about, you know, how it's the person putting their intentionality and their purpose and creating something for themselves. But now in this generation and in society, we have the uprise of AI. And so AI takes away that intentionality and like just sitting down with your own thoughts, and you're just prompting ChatGPT, for example, and just telling it to do the work. I don't think that AI is something that we should fight, but I also don't think that's something that we should just open our arms with. So how can we kind of have that balance with it, where it's like still the person putting in that reflection piece, but also getting some support and help through the AI. Like, where do we find that balance, especially with the launch of Well Played? Like, do you see AI becoming integrated into it, or is it a part of it, or something that you're like, no, like, I don't want it to come into it?
So far it's not. So far it is not a part, because there's a belief for me that means when we wrestle slightly or feel challenged or not get things perfect right out of the gate, that there's so much learning in that and development that can happen, and what that leads to is growth, a lot of personal growth. Just had a really interesting story I just heard from my husband James. He was at a gathering, a bachelor party just last weekend, and everyone was asked to bring a message for the groom. Just some well wishes or a poem or a song. And out of all the people that were there, 50% wrote a song using AI. And it was so everyone was just playing it. They weren't singing it themselves. They weren't playing any instruments themselves. They were playing something they had created using AI on their phone. And James said, by the time you got to the third song of what their gift of their offering, you could feel the soul not there. That it did feel just, here's another AI version of a song. And it just didn't have the same level of soul that we feel when we go and hear live music and spend time with an artist, or put our really big headphones on and listen incredibly deeply to that lyric that we needed. So, I'm like you. I'm not feeling like we need to run away from AI, but I feel it's just another tool, and sometimes you use that tool, sometimes you don't. But what we all really want is, let's keep growing as humans, and let's ensure that we're always infusing humanity in everything we do. Super important.
Yeah, because I've actually also heard that AI can make beats, like they can actually just make a full song, and you can tell certain AIs to just create something.
Right, that's what these guys were doing.
That reduces like creativity, right?
They're all of a sudden you're not wrestling with it. All of a sudden you're not having to go, what rhymes with this? Somebody else comes up with that. Like, it's certainly not a Taylor Swift song.
And it kind of makes me think, like, maybe the music industry, because I feel like the music industry more and more is just becoming more money based, like what's going to bring in the most money, the artist needs to do this because this brings in the most money. Are they just going to start using AI because it's just easier, it's faster to produce beats, make beats? If you're stuck on rhyme, let's just ask ChatGPT to rhyme it for me, it can give me something. And I feel like the thing is, as a listener, I don't know if we would ever even know.
And artists are already struggling. Like you mentioned in your book, you say that, like, artists aren't benefiting always from streaming services, and you're always advocating for, okay, let's compensate the artists and make sure that they're actually getting the fruits of their labor.
Absolutely.
That's kind of something that I feel like as a listener, you would just never know, and it's on the back of my mind that, like, I just feel like it takes away from the actual, I don't know, work, and I don't know how to describe it, but I don't like that concept of it at all. There's
certainly a shift, and I think let's keep in touch with our feelings, and again, just listen deeply and be okay to advocate for other things, another path, another way.
I also had one more question about, you advocate a lot in your book for purchasing like the complete album, and I wanted to ask more about that because I was curious. Why is that so? Does that benefit artists more, or
it does benefit them for sure, but I also feel there's something about listening. So in the old days on the albums, there was side A, there was side B. And there's something about listening to what they have chosen to put on side A and side B. It tells a story. It's not just these individual songs. There's a complete narrative of things that this artist is has gone through in order to get to this point to publishing. And it's always interesting to me how they put it together. Yeah.
Even the order.
Right?
Sometimes they sometimes purposely put
Totally.
certain songs. And
Drake is very much that.
And like certain songs lead into other ones.
Yes.
I've actually I don't pay attention to that. I just listen to
It's
whatever.
because streaming has taken away that joy of flipping a record and listening to side B. But you can still buy records. You can still get a turntable. It's fun.
I want to actually.
It's just expensive.
Yeah. No, I feel like with my favorite albums, I want to actually create like a little like collection of them.
Yes.
I think it would be really fun
Super
when I
big.
have my own place.
Perfect.
Yes.
I love it.
I think we're the generation that went very quickly from cassette tapes, CDs, MP3s.
Yes.
Like, it all happened
In
probably
our
within like 5-10 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in grade 5 listening to like music on the little iPod thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then we actually had the bigger like iPod Nano.
Gosh, I already forgot about the iPods. Already forgot. You're right.
Like you had to do little.
Of course, you had to circle. Oh, see?
Yeah, and I would go
my
on like
gosh.
the. I shouldn't say this, but the pirated ways of downloading them
Right,
onto there,
right.
and then we went to the iPod, then we went to the iPhone, and then Spotify became something, and it's just it's crazy.
And you mentioned Napster as well, and I was reading your book, and I was like, I don't know what this is actually.
Right? Napster. I know the first time that we just started stealing music and making it accessible to all.
They had the right idea.
Yeah, right.
And about your first book, Wellness Incorporated, you talk a lot about being a health entrepreneur. You talk about, I thought that was such a cool concept because you don't really hear that. You hear either you're an entrepreneur, you're super like profit minded, or you hear someone that's like more like a social entrepreneur, someone who just cares about people, but being able to blend both of them, I thought that was really important. And the fact that there's not many books on being a health entrepreneur.
No. And I feel there's being financially responsible and sustainable it doesn't mean that you're not caring for people. If anything, you need both in order to keep in today's world. You need both. And so I really wrote that book. It was hard to write because when you're in healthcare, talking about money can feel icky. Because you do not want to profit off of people's pain and off of their troubles. You also want to continue serving people. So how do we find this? And I've really found one of the biggest answers is in partnership. And when I was telling you it was AHS and the Calgary Health Foundation and the National Music Center, it really is all of these partners that are allowing the public to receive music therapy where they're not directly paying. Some do, for sure, but they don't. But some people don't have to if they need it, and it's just wonderful to have these partners ensuring that happens.
And how are you going to continue advocating for music therapy to be, maybe spread across more units, spread across more hospitals? Maybe why does it always have to be in these professional healthcare settings? Why can't they be in these, everyday type health settings? Like how can you... It's a pretty big question, but how can you continue to advocate for it? Because it can be hard sometimes.
Yeah, I certainly am comfortable continuing to advocate, but I think part of my job now is to continue supporting other music therapists that are new into the profession, growing in the profession, becoming these incredible music therapists, and encouraging them also in the different ways to advocate and to partner and to learn how to have relationships. Like, it really does come down to having relationships with people, not just your clients, but also everyone involved with that patient, client, child, adult. Yeah.
And I find in our healthcare system, they say there's a lot of collaboration. And there's some really good collaboration, but I also feel with the new restructuring of AHS, there's not a lot of collaboration.
And confusion, right?
A lot.
It's going to take a minute to shake this out, but let's hold faith that humanity will win out, and we're going to find again this path that makes things work. If it was up to me, Canada would be known for the best healthcare system in the world. There's no reason why we shouldn't be there. When I look at our rating on the WHO, it's too low.
Yeah.
And we need to, would be something quite beautiful to be known for. And like you're saying, there's potential for incredible collaborations. We've got a lot of skills here, incredible people, and a desire to, I'm using the word help, but the desire to help one another. And sometimes we just need, people to put these systems together in a manner that is much more that have flow and are effective and putting patient-centered care forward.
Yeah, I see it. I feel like a lot of pain clinics would benefit from using music therapy because I feel like it's kind of connected in a way.
Well, the research really supports that.
Yeah.
So it's quite a high percentage of feelings of decreased pain when you incorporate music in your care. And it really doesn't take that long. So absolutely, pain is one of the most significant places where music can play a part.
Yeah, I really do hope, because it is getting really confusing for patients to just navigate the system. And I'm talking just because I am a patient advocate, and so I have my own clients who tell me their own personal stories, and when they do come to me, like, I sometimes don't even know what to do. And I just don't even, like, if I don't know, how is a person who's just so stressed out and have to think about their health and family and this and that, like, how can they figure it out? And then the healthcare professional, on the other hand, also doesn't know, and they're just telling them, pointing fingers to go to this person. This person is just, it makes me question that.
And it gives even greater value to a podcast like this.
Yes.
Where you're bringing people together. You're looking at all the things that are working, what's strengthening people, and perhaps it's all these little pieces that you're investigating. When they come together will be a part of the answer. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I guess one question that I have for you, my one last question, is in what ways do you hope in the future to communicate the value of music therapy to policymakers, to these, like, I know you have a good footing in Alberta, specifically Calgary, but now let's look at, like, the bigger Canada. Let's look at Ontario.
So I wish I had a full answer there. Now, I've had the opportunity to speak to Health Canada. I've also spoken directly to the Governor General's office. Everyone's super responsive, love what they hear. But how is that taken to action and ensure that every long-term care center in all of Canada has a music therapist? Because we know that this works really well in decreasing isolation, supporting people, feeling connected, and boosting spirits in some of these very, very lonely places for many. So how do we do that? I'm not fully sure. I'm also trying to get GST removed from private practice for music therapists, just because it's just a little extra burden, and it would signal that, hey, we're listening to you, and we want to make sure that, again, we make this more accessible and not such a barrier. So little things, I think, will matter. I mean, if you share this podcast with others, maybe someone will hear it and want to support some new way, making music therapy much more recognizable within mental health right now, I think would be incredibly powerful. What we were talking about is its role in pain, but also addictions. That music is something that really feeds that reward system and can support someone. So, there's lots for us to continue talking about and supporting one another. But it comes down to introductions, meeting the right person,
Right.
getting to the right table,
Having them listen.
right?
That's the biggest part.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
how
so
can I make
much.
you listen?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I was wondering when you were saying that with the GST, when you're trying to exclude it, is music therapy covered under insurance?
No. Right? And then also not everyone has insurance.
Exactly.
Right.
And not all the groups, not all the places we serve are paid for by insurance, right? So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of
There's
things.
a lot,
There's
yeah.
a lot there.
There's a lot of barriers, it
Lots
seems
of
like.
barriers. And so again, but let's focus on the people
positives,
that want
yeah.
to partner and make it work. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to start local, and
You
you're
do.
already doing that.
totally.
so.
Yes. Thank you.
No, that's awesome. No, we're really, really happy to have you here. And you're working so hard to make it accessible to people, especially through the digital project that you're doing. So if you want to speak briefly about that.
Yeah, we're really excited to be launching Well Played this fall. And it will be a mobile app, so please go look for it. We're so excited. We're putting, it will be an initial cost of $29.95 for the whole year. People can go on to this app and help us shape it in its first year. We really encourage post-secondary students and caregivers in particular. We will be doing a study with cancer patients this fall, and we're really hoping that this can be a bridge into helping people use music better. Using a lot of what you were reading in Wellness Well Played will be in the digital platform, with gentle prompts and notifications, and where you can add all your music that you have listened to in your lifetime with your own personal journal reflections, so you can remember your stories about it. And then
I like that.
Right? And then you can share it with others if you want to.
Wow, what inspiring and beautiful work. And we are really excited
Yeah.
for that. So we can't wait. We'll definitely share it. And all of you better listen to it and download the app as well. So
And having an app actually makes it very accessible if you really think about it. So it's a good step in the right direction.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it's
Totally.
awesome work. Awesome
yeah.
work.
And we have a few fun questions for you, actually.
Yeah. You asked me this, my favorite artist. What are your favorite artists?
Yeah. Here's another one for you to look up. Keb Mo. His voice is very special to me. I just love listening to him. And he's got a beautiful song called Love Train that I like a ton.
Okay.
I love Colors by the Black Pumas. I love that song a lot. Yeah.
Favorite instrument?
Great. I played well. There's something special about certain horns, like be it a trombone or a trumpet, that can be like when I think about old school jazz and think about the trumpet, it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I find like those big instruments are very like
a cello or
yeah,
something.
very like it feels like my heart in a way.
Yeah,
I don't know how to
love that
describe
too.
it.
I love that too. Yeah, super good.
Yeah.
Awesome. And because this podcast is called Many Different Birds, if you were to be a bird, what would you be?
Oh, what a beautiful question.
And you can make up your own bird too.
Right? When you were talking about just flying, I was thinking about just the general soaring. And I was watching some birds the other day that I'd been caught in the, like an air funnel, when they can just hold their wings out for a super long time. And so I think I just want to be a very I want to be a very open, relaxed bird that where the world can just capture me and I feel supported by it. I just loved that image. So I don't know what the name of that bird is, but just a true soaring bird.
It's like white in color, I think.
Yeah.
Is it? I remember seeing it in my backyard, and my parents are looking at it. It gets so windy, but it can still keep flight.
I can keep flight. I mean, certainly so many are beautiful. You know, but birds in general, aren't we lucky?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you would be a songbird.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I love that. Appreciate you.
Well, Jennifer, that's the end of our time, but we really, really appreciate you coming in and taking some time for us to ask you some questions. And we really enjoyed. We learned so much, and we'll definitely be looking out for your work.
Thank you.
No, I want to say thank you. Music therapy is the first time I've heard of it, but being able to connect with you on the topic of music is something that is very familiar to me and something that I pride myself of. I actually call myself DJ Harveen. So I was actually really looking forward to this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm wishing you both great success, although there's no question in my mind that isn't happening right now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Great.
We want to thank CJSW, the Indigenous Global and Local Health Office, Grandmother's Lounge, and the You Create team for helping us kickstart this podcast. We couldn't have done this without your support and knowledge. And also, great news. We have an Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, so please follow us at MDB90.9.